Congress of Vienna. In 1802, Europe was made up of several hundred states, which were dominated by England, Austria, Russia, Prussia, and France, which was the most powerful country. In 1804, when Napoleon Bonaparte took over France, his military exploits had led to the complete control of virtually all of Europe. Even today, France has more land than any other country in Western Europe. In 1812, when Napoleon moved against Russia, England, Spain and Portugal were already at war with France. They were later joined by Sweden, Austria, and in 1813, Prussia joined the coalition to end the siege of Europe, and to assure its future peace by the re-establishment of a just equilibrium of the powers. In 1814, the coalition defeated France, and in March of that year, marched into Paris. France's borders were returned to their original 1792 location, which had been established by the First Peace of Paris, and Napoleon was exiled to Elba, a small island off the Tucson coast of Italy. After the Napoleonic Wars, the Illuminati thought the world would be tired of fighting, and would accept any solution to have peace. Through the Congress of Vienna, 1814-15, the Rothschild hoped to create a sort of League of Nations. From September, 1814 to June, 1815, the four powers of the Allied coalition, winners of the Napoleonic Wars, met at the Congress of Vienna, along with a large number of rulers and officials representing smaller states. It was the biggest political meeting in European history. Representing England, was Lord Robert Stewart, the second Viscount Castlereagh, France, with Foreign Minister Charles Maurice Talleyrand de Périgord, Prussia, with King Friedrich Wilhelm III, and Austria, with Emperor Franz II. Other representatives were Frederick VI, King of Denmark, Maximilian Joseph, King of Bavaria, Friedrich I, King of Württemberg, Napoleon II, King of Rome, Eugene de Beauharnais, Viceroy of Italy, King Friedrich August I of Saxony, Count Lowenhelm of Sweden, Cardinal Consalvi of the Papal States, Grand Duke Charles of Baden, Elector William of Hesse, Grand Duke George of Hesse-Darmstadt, Karl August, Duke of Weimar, the King of Bohemia, the King of Hungary, and emissaries from Spain, Portugal, Denmark, Holland, and other European states. The main concern of the Congress was to redistribute conquered territories, create a balance of power, restore the pre-Napoleonic order through King Louis XVIII, return the power to families who were ruling in 1789, and to return the Roman Catholic Church to its former power. Discussion revolved around the creation of a federation of Europe that would establish a group of independent kingdoms which would be tied together through an administrative governing body that would, among other things, provide military defense. In their plan, Switzerland was made a neutral state that served as a repository for their finances. In March, 1815, Napoleon left Elba, because the pension promised him by King Louis XVIII was discontinued, and he believed that Austria was preventing his companion, Marie-Louise, and his son, the former King of Rome, who became the Duke of Reichstadt in Vienna, from being able to join him. Plus, he was made aware of the growing discontent with the king. Thus Napoleon returned, began the 100 Days' War, and was immediately labeled a public enemy. The coalition at the Congress put aside their diplomatic business, and joined in the battle. Shortly before Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo, negotiations at the Congress of Vienna were completed, and the treaty was signed on June 9, 1815. The Second Peace of Paris, in November, exiled Napoleon to St. Helena, an island 1,000 miles off the African coast, where he died in 1821. The Russian Tsar saw through the planned European Federation, recognizing it as an Illuminati ploy, and would not go along with it. On September 26, 1815, the Treaty of Holy Alliance was signed by Alexander I of Russia, Francis II of Austria, and Frederick William III of Prussia, while the Allies were negotiating the Second Peace of Paris. The treaty guaranteed the sovereignty of any monarch who would adhere to Christian principles in the affairs of state. The treaty made them a true and indissoluble brotherhood. Alexander claimed he got the idea from a conversation with Castlereagh. Castlereagh later said that the alliance was a piece of sublime mysticism and nonsense. Prussia and Austria claimed they went along with it, out of fear of Russian retaliation. Although the alliance had no influence on matters, it did indicate to other countries that they had banded together against them, and it succeeded in temporarily crushing Europe's growing liberal movement. Austrian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Prince Clemens I von Metternich, the most influential statesman in Europe, and a Rothschild agent, said that the purpose of his idea for a European federation was only to preserve the social order, and he was convinced that Alexander was insane. In actuality, the reason for the Congress of Vienna was for the Illuminati to create a federation, so they would have complete political control over most of the civilized world. Many of the European governments were in debt to the Rothschild, so they figured they could use that as a bargaining tool. The Illuminati, in their first attempt, had come terrifyingly close to gaining control of the world. The head of the family, Nathan Rothschild, awaited the day that his family would get revenge by destroying the Tsar and his family, which they did in 1917. In 1916, the Senate Congressional Record, pg. 6781, reproduced a document known as the Secret Treaty of Verona, which had been signed in November 22, 1822 by Austria, Metternich, France, Chateaubriand, Prussia, Bernstedt, and Russia, Chancellery, and was partially the reason for the establishment of the Monroe Doctrine. Its purpose was to make some changes to the Treaty of the Holy Alliance, and Article 1 stated, "The high contracting powers, being convinced that the system of representative government is equally as incompatible with the monarchical principles as the maxim of the sovereignty of the people with the divine right, engage mutually, in the most solemn manner, to use all their efforts to put an end to the system of representative governments, in whatever country it may exist in Europe, and to prevent its being introduced where it is not yet known." Without a doubt, this document represented the intentions of the international bankers as they planned increasing domination over a growing world.